Hey, my name is Alvar Enrique Antillón, and I play in Ejecutador, also ex-Caveman Cult, ex-Reapermanser, ex-Nuclear Infantry, and I'll see you at the Tampa Morgue.
What's up? Thank you for listening to the Tampa Morgue. This is Tony. What's up, Ed? How you doing, man?
Mr. Anderson, what's going on, brother? Happy New Year.
You too, man. You too. Good to be back. Looking forward to tonight's show. Tonight's kind of cool because we're actually joined by somebody that me and you have done shows with in the past. That actually was his band. Yeah, many shows in the past. We had I will say that Ed knows this because I've always used to say this when we go to Miami, a band that so I'm talking about a band called Reapermanser, actually. So I'll start with that because that's who we played. We played with Cunt Knuckles too, who this guy's been part of that band, and a bunch of other bands which we'll get to tonight. But I got to say, not Flesh Reaper, but fucking A, Reapermanser. Yeah, we'll say all the wrong. Generic Christ. When we played with Reapermanser, they were always a band who just I always wondered how they weren't, didn't do more than they did, because I mean, it was a sick band, man. And Alvar, we are glad to have you tonight with us, man. How you doing, dude?
How you doing? Doing excellent.
Good, man. And it's really, I know you got a lot of shit going on too. You've been busy. And you want to tell us about the song we just heard?
Well, that was Stalking the Kill by my new band, Ejecutador, which translates to executioner in Spanish. And I'm playing guitar and vocals in that band, which is more of my bread and butter.
Nice. Yeah. You played everything, and we're going to talk about that too. And we're definitely going to talk about that band, and then we're going to talk about a lot of stuff with you. But you were born in what? San Jose, Costa Rica.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
I was born there.
And that's the largest city in Costa Rica?
What was that?
Is that the largest city in Costa Rica?
That's the capital.
Yeah,
the capital. Okay. And, it's in the higher elevation in the mountains. It's a very, very beautiful city. I lived there from birth until 10 years old, and then I moved to the United States. Like around.
Does that have like the volcanic valley or some shit there too? There's like some kind of
not quite there in the northern provinces. There are more volcanoes, and there's actually like 7 volcanoes in Costa Rica, and 1 active volcano. It's called the Volcán Arenal, and it's very popular, and tourists go there all the time.
Okay, and you said you relocated to Miami, what, around 10 years old, you said?
Yeah, 10 years old, and not knowing a lick of English. I learned English by watching TV and reading and getting all the mannerisms right from the TV.
What kind of shit were you watching at that age when you first got to America?
Cartoon Network, Ed and Eddie, Curtis,
yeah.
That kind of shit. And the History Channel with my dad. But yeah.
Nice. And did you grow up in a musical household at a young age? Was it like around you right away?
No, not really. Not at all. Like, I mean, there was music around me, but like music of the times, nothing of the heavy nature. I got into heavy music when I was like 11. I started with Korn and Limp Bizkit, and that was like my gateway into heavier music. But once I got into Metallica, that's what it was for me, the defining moment where I really understood the music, and I didn't know it was metal. I'm like, what the fuck is this? They're like, this is metal. You're a metalhead? And I was like, no, And Master of Puppets was my first song ever.
Yeah, because you're in your 30s, so that makes total sense. And do you remember the first record you picked up by the first record you owned, actually, or tape or whatever, that time period?
My mother bought me my first 2 CDs, which was Master of Puppets with Metallica and Back in Black AC/DC. So that's a good foundation right there, I would say.
Yeah, and when did you start did you start fucking with instruments at a young age, or did you pick up later on? Because
I picked up my little sister's guitar at 14 years old, and she was the one getting lessons, but I was the one that started picking it up by ear, and I started learning stuff like by myself right off the bat, And they're like, well, she's not doing so good, maybe we should give him the lessons, and they gave me the lessons, and that was actually what gave me my first musical foundation of like technique and proper playing, being taught by a jazz teacher.
And yeah, I know you're into, not like, besides metal, I know you actually are you have a pretty wide brand of music you listen to. And I know I've taught you before, and I know, like, you're not just a metal guy, you have a lot of different influences and stuff like that. And you can tell that what you're playing in a lot of ways.
I mean, if you are a one-dimensional player, you can hear it, You can hear that you only listen to one genre in the playing. But if you listen to a lot of stuff, you're playing basically way more colorful, and you have more inspiration from different genres,
Yeah, and I know you said Metallica with the Master of Puppets, and one actually conversation I do kind of remember having with you in the past at a show was out in the parking lot at Churchill's. We were talking about I think, was it Beneath the Remains had a big impact on you, but we were kind of talking about schizophrenia too, how it's like, how Killer, that was a big deal for you, those records, right?
Those are some of the best executed thrash metal, in my opinion. I mean, I have Beneath the Remains tattooed on my left arm. That was my first tattoo. And that's how much that record influenced me. It's monumental for me. So, especially because it's stepping away a little bit from the melodicism of like the early stuff, like Metallica, Megadeth. It's more like a little bit death metal influence in there, and that got me into the really heavy spectrum of music.
Yeah, especially with schizophrenia and then morbid visions. It was definitely more.
I kind of like schizophrenia a little. I have a very soft spot for that record because it's so raw.
Raw. No.
It's like that's what I wanted to do. Like, raw, bang your head, disgusting metal, And then
eventually Remains was very polished compared to the old stuff. That's when they started getting into the real production.
But the polished sound basically made it sound bigger, and like more threatening, kind of like Slave Rain Blood had so much better production that it made him go to the next level,
Absolutely.
And you actually started what? You were in your first band at 16, like 2007, right? Malphus was the name of the band?
Yeah, that's funny.
And that's with George. We know George. I know George. I know.
He's still in my life, definitely, since we're teenagers. He's probably my best friend. And we're still doing music together. Now he's in Ejecutador with me. And we just keep going strong.
Well, you guys did Malphus. It was you, George, and another guitar player named Eric, right? And then you guys played for a while and basically called it quits. And then you started jamming with a guy that me and Ed know, Mike Pena. Mike, we actually, I think I was talking to you last night about this, Alvar, is that Mike Pena, someone messaged us. We had a show with you guys, actually, Reapermanser over at Church Hills. It was one of our first times playing with you guys. And our drummer, something came up where he couldn't play, and someone gave us Mike Pena's number. And met the dude one time, came down to Miami and played with you guys. The dude knew our whole set, and we only jammed with us one time over at Randy Pyro's, actually, over from Orb Weaver's practice space. And that was the only time we jammed with him. A week later, we're in Miami playing with you guys, and this guy plays our whole set. So we definitely know Mike, but was he involved with Malphus too, or did he come along later on before you guys formed Nuclear Infantry, which is, what Malphus became, right?
My musical partner when we started like really, really jamming with somebody, with a drummer. That's what made it like my musical foundations, become like for real now. Because like I'm not just jamming with a recording or with other players. It's like jamming with a real drummer that was very talented. He turned into a monster. At first, when he was not as good, like he couldn't keep up to my picking, and then he surpassed. He got into Nile and stuff like that, and he was really into the thrash metal thing though. And that's where we're basically made us like common interest that we like thrash. We wanted to do it, but he went on his way and I went mine. But I'll never forget that. And he was he's been hitting me up recently to maybe get it started again, but.
For Nuclear Infantry, I was going to ask you about that because you guys did Nuclear Infantry and you guys had Sergio played with you guys too, who you played with later on for years. Yeah, you had him on guitar because he was with Urban Warfare from Orlando.
No, it was not. It was a Bishma, my other
Bishma, okay,
partner, and he's the one that was like my co-writer in Reapermanser. He wrote most of the songs because I was a drummer, and I picked up the drums for that band because I couldn't find a drummer. I couldn't find
that was
anybody.
Like 3 months prior, right? You never played drums before, I think, right before you got into Reapermanser.
I picked it up like playing in a kit that wasn't mine at first, and we were just doing punk like D-beat and the regular tupat, and it started getting better. I started being able to do double kick with it, like tupat, that kind of stuff, and then eventually I took off with my stamina and the technique. But I've never been like a monster drummer. I like playing fast and hard. That's about it. Just to do the main role of what this music is. Pounding beat.
Yeah, you definitely played fast and hard, and we saw that. Ed were watching the video from that you guys did, which we'll talk about later on too. And that's one thing I remember when I first saw you guys was that. And we're actually going to talk about Reapermanser. Before we talk about them, I am going to play one of the songs from Nuclear Infantry. It's a track called Infernal Massacre off the 2011 demo, which was like Apocalyptic Misanthropy. Anything about that song you can share? It's you and George did that, right? You guys pretty much handled everything on that 4-song album.
Eric, the guitar player who used to play Malphus, actually came up with the main riff, and then I built the song around the main riff. And basically, we did that demo with computer drums, like Guitar Pro drums that I programmed, because it's too expensive at the time for us to record drums, or we wanted to put something out there, put the music out there. So I used to do all the music myself on Guitar Pro, write every part. I still do, but back then, because I didn't have the resources, I did it like way more, And
Cool.
that's how that demo is. You can hear it. It's like not that good production, because I recorded myself in my MacBook at the time, GarageBand.
Amazing what you could have done back then too.
Yeah, well, we're going to play that track. Actually, we're going to play Infernal Massacre from Nuclear Infantry, and we'll be back right after that to talk more with Alvar. There you go, man. That was Infernal Massacre from Nuclear Infantry. And that brings us to Reapermanser, which we started going into. So that's 2012, right? You, George, Sergio, you guys have been jamming for Infantry.
Officially started with that band.
Okay, and you guys were jamming, 3 years with Nuclear Infantry together before you guys started that, you three?
Around 2009, or I actually started jamming with Mike a little earlier than that, but we weren't doing anything original. We're just doing covers, like Metallica, Sepultura covers, Emperor. I got him into black metal and stuff. He really liked Emperor at the time. We used to do I Am the Black Wizards, and we used to even cover it live sometimes. Yeah, the Reapermanser came up because Nuclear Infantry broke up, and Mike had to fall out, and we wanted to do something more simple and gritty, like punk, kind of black thrash influence, kind of thing.
And you guys back then, right? You guys definitely evolved as a band as it went on. But at first, you guys had that punk thing going on because that was, how would you like, that was kind of like the ability at that time, right, to play that and just kind of progress.
It progressed as we started jamming over the years, and I eventually got to the point where I could blast beat like Sarcophago, kind of, that kind of stuff. But we started out with like DB discharge kind of stuff, like just really like basic at first.
Now, who came up with the name and the logo for you guys?
That would have been Bishma. It's the name is a play on a Bathory record, the Reaper and Necromancer. Mm-hmm. So we just combined the two songs together, Reapermanser.
Yeah, so, and the logo of Bishma, because I know Bishma was doing, you guys, the one thing that you guys did have involved in your band a lot was a lot of that DIY aspect. Like you had I know you guys were making patches back then. You guys were doing the artwork. What was it? Was Bishma doing all the artwork at that time period for the most part?
He was basically the visual artist. He even did the cover for Nuclear Infantry, the really bootlegger looking cover, but whatever. It was raw for us at the time. And
it's great when you keep it in house too, man. Right?
I mean, he's a genius. I still have lots of respect for him, and we still talk. But he's doing his own projects. Fiasco with George. It's all very incestuous. There's like bands that with certain members, like
you guys. Your bands definitely have that. Like you can see, like George, like you mentioned, pretty much you and George kind of stick side by side. It seems like through a lot of the projects through the years.
Absolutely.
Reminds me of somebody, huh?
Yeah, that's how me. I mean, had been playing together forever, so it's in everything we kind of always have done the same bands together. And you guys, started playing out right away too, right? 2012, you guys did your first show with Terrorist and Grit.
Terrorist, Grit, Baker acted, and we started. Yeah, and that was super fun. It was our first show, and it was a punk show, like punk grind bands. Not metal, we started out with the punk scene, and it was just rowdy. Like first show ever, already a mosh pit and people going crazy. People on the back of Churchill's, there was a what do you call it, like a tarp, and people would be hanging off it. It was raw then.
Churchill's, I definitely want to talk about Churchill's with you because, and you guys, like you said, you were doing the punk things. I think the month afterwards, you guys played with like, what was it? Reagan Youth and stuff. So you guys kind of had that thing going on right away. And
funny story about the Reagan Youth. I broke my hand before we ever got a chance to play that show.
Oh, so you guys did not play the show actually?
We did not play that show. We were on it, but then I broke and whatever, I had to heal up for some time. And we did a lot of other cool shows. Play with I think one of my proudest moments with Reapermanser is opening up for Venom Inc. And I met Abaddon that night, and he was fucking super cool.
Yeah, you guys, and you mentioned with the Churchills for that. We were talking about that last night too, me and you off the show. How would people who had never been to Churchill's, like especially during that period, because we were playing with you guys, I think it was like, Ed, what was it, 2013, 2014, 2015, we were doing shows at Reapermanser, and there was a scene there. It was, for us, it was kind of like, wow, we didn't expect to see what we saw when we go play there.
Golden era of music at the time. You could go there any night and see, random noise or spoken word or jazz night or a punk show or anything. It was a wild place, and the hangs in the parking lot was epic. Everybody be fucked up in the parking lot, and it was just a lawless kind of vibe there. Like you could pretty much get away with anything.
I remember the parking lot. You had the people in their recline, like there was like down the street, there was the people in their chairs that you would tip them so you'd come back out to your equipment and stuff like that.
I had some favorites. I had some Crip, for example.
That place was every time we played that place, it was packed. I can't think of a time we played. It was not even that night when we did the dual show. you know, where it was inside and outside. Remember they had the 2 stages.
Yeah, with
that night?
Nunhex. It was
Yeah,
Nunhex,
yeah.
Reapermanser.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that night was fucked up, but I mean, yeah, that was, I was like, holy shit, man, there's so many people here in a little club. It was just,
It was
crazy.
a heart of.
You couldn't hang inside because it was too packed. You had to hang out in the parking lot.
If you wanted to get a break from the noise, you go to the parking lot and drink some beers, and you know, then you come back, and once you get your fill, and you know, if you don't, like a lot of people like me at the time we're broke, you know, so you go to drink beers from the gas station, bring it to the parking lot.
Exactly.
But you know, it's a time like I look very fondly because you know, like it's pretty much my youth I spent there, and I performed there many times in most of my bands at the time. I've been performed naked there, like
yeah, we're talking about the Caveman cult, right?
Caveman cult. Twice. Once in the main room and once in the back. It was, you could basically, like I said, you get away with anything there. It was just the rawest place you could play it in. I would say Florida, honestly. Like not even the
first time we played there, I was shocked. I was like, damn, man, I'm like, this has had a total vibe to it. Like you just had it had a positive vibe. It was like but it was crazy in there. Like you said, it was, you know, it really just felt like the old shows. I mean, it was, you know, I mean, and that's, I think, you know, with the bands, like we talk about Reapermanser, and I think that's one thing that you guys kind of had was that dirty, gritty, you know, you guys were doing house shows, right? You guys were doing, and we did house shows too as Generic Christ. I love those things. You guys did, I think what you guys played house shows at the Nuthex house. You guys were, you know, I mean.
There was a few houses played then, a few houses. Back then, where people were more involved in the scene, people were actually trying to make shows happen. And, you know, it was just a different era before COVID, and COVID kind of ruined it.
No. Yeah, no, definitely. And you know, the house shows are the hottest shit inside usually, but just a blast, man.
Yeah,
it was a blast.
You know, I've grown up from playing in the house show because it's so fucking hot in there. As a drummer, he's like,
oh yeah,
like, you know, unbearable. But you know, at the time, we're young. Fuck it.
You just fucking did it. You guarded through it. We played at Fubar. How many times at Fubar when that thing felt like a fucking sauna?
There was no AC and shit. Yeah, it was like,
dude. But you know what? You're on stage, you fucking feel it, and you just play. You just play your ass off.
Man.
And the room goes crazy because no rules. It's a house show. Like people are just bouncing off the walls.
Yep.
It was more violent back then. Like, you know, now it's like a little toned down. Really, shows around here.
Because now Churchill's it's done, right? So I mean, what is there now for like that kind of venue? Because I haven't been back there probably for maybe 4 years now. I think the last time I played there 5 years.
Okay, now we have a Gramps still, which was around back then, but you know, it was not the optimal, and it still is not the optimal venue because it's in the middle of Wynwood, which is like a very hipster part of town. Parking is terrible. There's a crowd of people that don't belong, you know, to this kind of music. They belong there because we're basically intruders in their area when there's metal shows happening there. It's like Churchill's felt like it was ours, and people that didn't belong there was like the hipster looking people, all the degenerate punks, and that was our domain, you know.
And even as bands coming into there, you felt that way. Like you knew that the bands like you guys, there was a couple of bands that we would play with there that you kind of, you know, we were coming from Tampa. So I forget how much that was, like a 4-hour drive over there, but you kind of felt like there was a community there when you went there. It was cool, man. It reminded me of like what people think of what Tampa was at one time. You know, there was definitely a thing going on. There was a movement, and the Miami bands at that time, man, there was just some killer bands coming out. Yeah, I mean,
dude, and one thing's for sure is we were never, coming from Tampa, we were never treated like dirt. You know, we were always, you know, when we played Churchill's, you know, we always got respect. And that's not something, you know, especially for not being a huge band. You know what I mean? Most bands don't get, you know, any respect in most places, you know. So it was cool. Every time we would get said, hey, we're going to play Miami, it was like, fuck, I hate to drive, but the
turnout,
the reward is worth the fucking torture of the drive.
The problem is the shows in between from Tampa and Miami. It's like, you know, finding places to play. It's kind of, you know, it was, but
not a lot of Broward.
Miami.
like nothing was happening there at the time. West Palm.
Honestly, I think the only thing between Tampa, like on going up 75, would have been Kelly's Live when he had it running. That was it.
Yeah.
And that was Sarasota, and that was it. And that's, you're talking halfway maybe between Miami and.
I never got to play that place, but
never me either. But but that's the problem is all the cool clubs, even in Tampa, closed down. And when I saw all the bullshit that was going down with Churchill's and all that political bullshit, it was sad, man, because people don't realize that. Take that stuff out of it, man. This place is historic.
It's historic. It's Miami CBGB's.
Yeah,
exactly.
I've been to CBGB's.
Exactly. Can't say any better than that.
Bathrooms were kind of the same. You had the same thing going on,
Yeah.
Why not surprised if you see somebody in there fucked up, throw up, whatever.
I think with the Reapermanser, the first time you guys, right before we played with you guys, we played with you the same year. I think it was you guys played with Hell Witch. Played with Hell Witch and Cyst at Speakeasy, right? With I think Evil Army, but they never showed up. Or so what was up with it?
I don't know what the whole thing happened with them. I honestly, they heard rumors, and I don't want to repeat anything because
But you guys played with Hell Witch, and we always love Hell Witch.
The first time I played with Hell Witch, and I saw them, and it was like incredible. Like the drummer was like super like on point. It's like
they're a great band,
and they're rolling now. I think
they played yesterday, and they're showing. There's another place in Miami called Bar Nancy now that does shows. It's kind of in Little Havana. Also not the most optimal place, but it's what is left. It's there's not a lot of places to play anymore. Unfortunately,
St. Pete's like that in St. Petersburg. We had some places there for like I was about a 3-year span, right, Ed, where there was just killer places to play, and then the money took over, and they started building sushi places.
We had Fubar, and then the one right next to it,
the local 662.
Yep, cool. And then State Theater was still pumping across the street.
Yeah, now that's
so. Yeah, there were a few, and yep. Even Tampa. What do you have? The Orpheum and Brass Mug across the street from each other, pretty much, and the Crowbar. And the Crowbar, and that's
a couple of times. The Veterans Bar.
What is it called?
The American Legion.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I saw you guys played there. Last year, right, with Caveman Cole.
That's Caveman Cole. A couple of times we played there.
I saw that. And you guys, I mean, that's one thing with the Reapermanser. You guys were playing cover songs back then. You guys were playing Sarcophago covers. You were playing Satanic Lust, Sodom covers. You guys did Creator covers, Destruction covers.
Yeah, I mean, the Destruction cover never live, but between Bishma and I, we would cover that in the warm up sometimes. I think one of our tightest cover we did was Necrophiliac for a Slayer tribute show we did. Like back. I think it was like a show that after Jeff Hanneman had died, and they made a tribute show and happened, and we got a chance to play, and I learned that on drums is fucking very. I did the best I could. I'm not no Dave Lombardo.
But no, you guys were killing the covers, man. And then you guys did your first EP, which was Orgasmic Death, right? Where'd you guys record that at?
This guy named Randall, I think. We did it at this studio in Ives Dairy, like this rehearsal space for. I don't know. I think or we were practicing there, and we just recorded live, like a punk band. Yeah. Not like when we did the next record, we did everything individually, like a proper band. But that first one, you can, the production is not the best. Like it seems like the guy, he didn't really understand what we were doing. He didn't understand the D beat stuff. So it kind of sounded like a mess sometimes. But I mean, whatever. It was our first release. And
you guys did 7 songs off that, right?
Yeah,
it was 7 songs on that.
We recorded those 7 songs and added new ones in the record, the Reaper Damnation record.
Okay, well, we're going to play actually a track really fast here from the Orgasmic Death. It's a track called, is it Fuck Miami or Miami? What's the official title of that? I've seen it two different ways.
Honestly, Fuck Miami.
There you go, Fuck Miami. And this is the track, Fuck Miami from Reapermanser off the 2014 EP, Orgasmic Death. We'll be right back. And that was the track Fuck Miami off the 2014 EP, Orgasmic Death, which was the first release from Reapermanser. And there was, so you guys also, during that time period, you had another band that we'd actually played with too, a band called Cunt Knuckles, right? Which was, so that was basically at first it was you and Natalie, and you guys, that was a duo, right? Where you guys were doing what, punk and metal covers? And that was just, the idea at first was just, it was going to be a duo, and that was it.
I mean, it started out with me teaching her how to play drums. And when she got better, I started like, let's do a band, so we can, have some fun. And I got George to play bass for that. And, it was like basically me doing guitar, because I wasn't playing guitar in any band at the time, not even Nuclear Infantry. And that band was like my outlet for doing metal punk, not just thrash metal. I was doing like,
definitely had that more of a punk feel to it. So it was George on bass, Natalie on drums and vocals, and you on backing vocals and guitar, like you said. I remember we played with you guys. I think it was 2015 it was Necrofilth.
That was a good show.
Yeah, that was a killer show. It was. I think there was a band. I think the band Nutcheck didn't play, or they dropped off, or something like that. But it was Cunt Knuckles, Reapermanser, Necrofilth, and us, and it was a blast, man. I never forget.
I still have a poster of that.
It's in my living room at home in Florida. Actually, I have the black one, right? That
Florida.
That was a killer poster, man. That was definitely a cool one. And with Cunt Knuckles,
it blew me away too. They were really good.
Yeah, that was a fun night too. That was a show that might have been. It was crazy there that night. I don't think there was another show we played there where there was like a Misfits girls band in the back and the backstage.
Oh, yeah. That was Natalie's band. She was playing drums for like a Misfits all-female tribute band.
Yeah, I remember that band too. Yeah, but I definitely remember Cunt Knuckles. And so 2014, you guys put out your first release, the Fresh Out of Fucks EP, which you recorded that. Where did you guys record that? The laundry room?
With Rab Bastard in his apartment in South Beach. He had like a makeshift like studio in his apartment, like a drum room, everything you could. Guitars all over the walls, like a huge modules. It was a cool experience to record there. And unfortunately, we never got to record anything else. I have written more advanced songs. But around the time I played with you guys, I have written more advanced compositions, and it was on its way. But then shit happened, and the band broke up.
Yeah, were you guys doing? I know you guys did shows, but were you guys doing a lot of shows, or were you guys doing as much as Reapermanser was doing back then with Kunt Knuckles, or were you guys kind of like just doing spot shows?
We're pretty much like in the loop, like whatever we got asked to do, we will play, and it was fun. It was fun time doing that band.
And you guys, what? You guys ended around? So you guys ended at around 2016, but didn't you guys? You guys did another show later on in 2018.
2017 and 18, we did some more shows. I wrote some more new songs. This time more technical, not technical like in the sense of like technical like music, but like a higher what do you call it? Quality of the songs. Like they're more complex compositions, and the playing was better.
Like we're gonna actually play one of the songs now from you guys from Kunt Knuckles, actually called "Spineless Scum," off the 2013 EP. Anything about that song you can share? Or was just
that's the thrashiest song on that EP. It's like the fastest song, and it features her part. She did some vocals as well in the break. And
it's 1 minute and 33 seconds. That's the great thing about like you can play like five Kunt Knuckle songs you've done in about 5 minutes, right? So it's like
certain songs they're more punk influence, and there was also like another song I wrote that was more like Venom kind of style, and that's also a big influence on my everything I do. Venom.
Yeah, you can kind of tell that too.
We're a trio at the time as well, so that was also a way of me playing guitar and no rhythm guitar, just me. So that was a way of me changing my playing a little bit. Where I'm used to just recording. At the time, I was always trying to get a rhythm guitar because I like orchestrating, But at the time, I didn't want to work with another guitar player just for that with that band. So I changed my playing for like a more bigger sound, but with one guitar, and like be more creative in the chords and things like that to make the guitar sound bigger.
Well, we're going to play Spineless Scum now. We'll be back in about 1 minute and 33. And we'll be right back.
Nothing but a truth. Ow! Oh, this violent stone. Start inside. I'm ready to collect. You're meant to fight. Just like a finesse. Oh, this violent stone. Violent stone.
And again, that was Kunt Knuckles with Spineless Scum. And we haven't even started talking about during the same time period, you became involved with a band called Caveman Cold. How did you become part of this band?
Basically, Rick Smith approached me one day asking me if I wanted to play in a Blasphemy / Bestial Warlust influence band. And he had seen me play in Reapermanser before, and I showed him some of my stuff in Nuclear Infantry that was capable of playing guitar and doing really good and all that kind of stuff. And they basically fished me out for my talent at the time. It was him and Harold. It was only 3 of us at the time. Eventually,
Harold's the one that came up with the name Caveman Cult?
Yeah, he's the one. He's the one that pretty much birthed the name and the concept. But I was the one that wrote the lyrics. They gave me the concept. They gave me the concept like with a page of like, I don't know. It was just like random like things about like totem poles and things like that. I wasn't really feeling it, so I went for a more approach like Cannibal Holocaust inspired kind of theme. You know, like real savages and cannibalism and things like that. And that's what pretty much kickstarted the whole concept of Caveman Cult.
You guys did what, your first demo in 2014?
That's right, yeah. Well, Rituals of Savagery.
Rituals of Savagery on Rotting Chapel Propaganda. And what was the first Caveman Cult show?
It was a show in the back of Churchill's in the patio. I forgot who we would play, but it was like we didn't have the whole get up or anything back then. We didn't dress up like, it was just like me and how I would normally dress up in, you know, jean jacket and jeans and cut off shirt. Eventually we started getting more creative with the outfits.
Whose idea was all that? I was going to ask about that. Like, when did you guys start developing the idea of like the stage attire, I guess you would call it?
Basically, Rick came up with the idea of like using the ghillie suits on stage, and we had a phase where he did that for a while, but it was too freaking hot in that thing. So I started just playing my shirt off. Like I had before we made that change. I was already like doing more like a traditional war metal outfit with the bullets and the blood and the chains and all that. But then like he's like, let's do something more true to the concept, look more like cavemen, like. And you know, I started using bones and animal like crocodile jaw, like a commission for an artist at the time. And I wore that, and you know, and moss, you know, just
the moss, yeah. And you guys
more like primal.
And you guys did obviously the nude thing on the stage thing. What was, you know,
yeah, that was a one-off. Oh, I guess two times one-off.
That had to be kind of a thrill, though, right? Yeah, it's like, hey, man, you know, Caveman, it's.
It was. I mean, it was. We didn't tell Harold at the time. It was only because you know we knew Harold wouldn't run with it, you know, because he's like an older guy and everything. And we did it, and it was kind of like a shock. Like people were like, "What the fuck," you know? But like people enjoyed it, and they pretty much stuck around for the whole show. So I mean, it was just a wild thing. Like Churchill's lawless land again.
Yeah, that's definitely. And you know, during that time, so you guys said you guys did that demo, and that what? So you're doing Caveman Cult in about, I guess it would be 2016. You're still doing Reapermanser, and you guys are about to put out your full length, right? Your debut full length, which is the Reaper Awaits Damnation.
That's right.
Which you guys recorded that in your rehearsal room, right? Because I saw it was listed as like Unit 814, which I'm figuring that was your practice space.
That's right. And we had this guy, Jesus Hernandez. He's more involved in the punk scene kind of guy, and he produced us, and we recorded everything individually. It wasn't like the best job in production, but for the time for us, it was a step from the previous recording, which was like the drums weren't as loud as it wasn't the full length album. You
re-recorded the demo, right? You guys re-recorded the Orgasmic Death songs, and then
then new songs that we had, you know.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, you guys redid those. So you guys did that, and at that time, you guys played in Texas that year too, right? With Disaster. Was that the same year, 2016?
I think it was 2017. We played the Destroying Texas for the first time with Sabat, the headliner amongst others. I was happy with that one because
I know you were a big fan of them, actually. Yeah, I know you were a big fan of that band.
I got a chance to take a picture with the guy and with Diesel and everything. It was memorable for sure. It was a good show.
You guys also did a video for the debut full length you guys did with Chris Briggs. We know Chris from Vile Productions, and
Oh yeah,
you
yeah.
guys did Hungover, right? You guys did a video for Hungover.
Yeah, that was in his backyard where like you see the band shots, and then the other stuff is like in Bishma's house, like the scenes that you see like the guy killing himself or whatever. That's a friend of ours, Chris Mahaney, and he was basically our actor in that music video where he kills himself. The song's about killing yourself, hungover. The song, this band Reapermanser, where our lyrics were like very tongue in cheek, like not taken very seriously. Like it's more like very ridiculous. Like for example, we had a song called "Fucking the Corpse of Christ," but we abbreviated it as SFTCOC, and we used to call it soft cock.
You guys can kind of tell that with you guys, even being around you guys back then. It was like you guys had that sense of humor.
Yeah,
it was like a sleazy, dirty, but a sense of humor. Like there was just something about. I think the thing with Reapermanser that I always had said with Ed or any of my bandmates back then was, it didn't seem like you see a lot of bands these days, and maybe I'm a little older than you, not by that much, but a little bit older, and you see so many bands like. But you guys seemed real. I always felt like when I was around the guys from Reapermanser, everyone was just kind of themselves. It wasn't like it was this. These guys were going to look the same way the next day when you pull up to their house. It wasn't like a costume, or it wasn't. It just seemed like this was the vibe of the band, and that's one thing with you, Sergio, and Bishmal and George. Just like it seemed like everybody clicked. That's what, from an outsider point of view, that is.
There definitely was chemistry between all of us, and as I improved as a drummer, it made the music better. I used to also write songs on guitar and present it to the guys on Guitar Pro. Like for example, Defile and the Reaper Awaits Damnation. Those are all I wrote the entire songs and I presented to the band and they learned it.
And you guys switched roles too a lot, right? You guys would. I mean, there was a period where George was singing. Like you had Natalie do a whole set with you guys. It was just Bishmal was singing. It was a.
Yeah, and I mean, Bishmal honestly was probably my favorite vocalist in the band because of his unique voice. But at some point, he was stepping back and just doing, I think, bass, and George was doing the frontman role. It was fun because he was like more like a punk kind of frontman, like throwing chains around and rolling around the ground, hitting himself with a microphone over the head. It was a phase, but we never. There's a song on the record that George did sing, "Mind Rot" on the Reaper Awaits Damnation, but it fell apart before we could do any more.
So that's what I was going to ask you because I was a big Reaper man. Like I said, I always hoped that you guys would, because you guys kind of disappeared. Like I think was your last show the show with Sadistic Intent and Nocturnus AD.
Yeah, that was the last show.
And Corrodia, yeah. So that was the last show you guys did. I was wondering about that and what happened. Like, I mean, obviously we know you can say whatever you want, but like when did you know that it was pretty much? Because we all know when we're being in bands for a while, when the ride's over, or when it's starting to not be as fun as it was from the day one, because it's just natural progression, I guess.
I mean, basically, George and I wanted to keep going. The other two was like not as much of a priority to practice and show up, and like it just phased out. Like not anything dramatic that we lost a friendship. We all still have the band chat and we talk on the band chat as a group of friends, but like these people, Sergio and Bishma weren't putting as much effort anymore, and I wanted to continue, and I had Caveman all the time, so I just did that for a while.
Yeah, and actually, we're going to talk some more about Caveman Cult in a minute. First, we're going to play actually a song from the Reaper Awaits Damnation. We're actually going to play the title track to that, I believe. So would you say with Reapermanser, would you say it's a done deal, or you say who knows, maybe
who knows? I mean, I've been new rehearsal space. Then we're
going to talk about that too. Yeah, that's very cool.
We'll talk about that in a bit, but now it's like super legit. It's got a PA, It's got a full backline, so people can just show up and plug in and play. You know, if I can convince them to drive up to Davie from Miami, then maybe we can get some stuff together. I haven't played drums in years for a band. I've never played drums for anybody else. And I'm not what I used to be. I've lost a lot of my stamina. But the ability is still there. I play sometimes, but I need to jam with people to get my stamina back up, to get my, you know, because it's boring practicing by yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, you know, like we were saying earlier, you know, I know you'd only played drums for 3 months before you formed Reapermanser, but, you know, you were killing it back there, man. Like, you guys were definitely slaying it, and we're going to play The Reaper Awaits Damnation now off of that 2016 full length, and we'll be right back, man. And wait, you said you wrote all the guitars to this, right? You were saying
I wrote music for this song. I even did the vocals as well.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so here we go. We'll be back after this track from Reapermanser called The Reaper Awaits Damnation. Welcome back. Okay, let's go back to Caveman Colt, man, because I know we're jumping all over the place. But 2016, that puts us you guys did the Barbaric Bloodlust demo. Then you guys put out the band's first full length, Savage War's Destiny, correct?
Yeah, first album.
11 tracks. Where did you guys go about recording that?
DIY. We did it ourselves. We're half of that. Rick recorded himself on drums. No backing track, no nothing. He just recorded the songs by memory, and with 2 mics, I believe, very minimal. And then I recorded my vocals on my computer, my GarageBand, and I did it basically in the bathroom to get natural reverb in there. And that was a very raw recording because the guitars were super distorted. It's kind of hard to even tell what's going on in that record because it's so distorted and fucked up sounding. But I'm pretty proud of that record.
And with Caveman Colt, like you guys, like that's one. You guys kind of didn't give a shit, right? You guys kind of did what you wanted to do. I mean, it was really like, I guess you would say it's a clubbing savage. Like it was pretty intense shit. Like you guys just went out there. And what was the reaction like around from the other bands around you guys? Because you guys were totally different. Like the thing with Caveman Colt was you guys stood out on the shows. Like it had its own thing going on. What do you remember about the early days of Caveman Colt when you guys first started really getting out there? Because you guys were accepted pretty damn well.
There's no other band like us at the time, especially locally. I mean, we're doing a genre that's like bigger in the northern states, or like not in Florida. There's nobody I can know like, doing war metal at the time. We got a pretty good response with the demo and the record. People will be willing to fly us out and play festivals and stuff like that. That band basically was very important for me with my music career because I did a lot of things that I never thought that I'd be able to achieve. The band had that level of not fame, but like it was a unique, and it was happening here, and
was it easy? Like I know you were into like. Was it easy transformation from you going from Reapermanser and these bands, because you always had that like you got that raw, like you were into Sarcophago, the early Beharit, like Blasphemy, like so was it easy kind of transition with Caveman Colt for you? Just a little more, I guess, war metal, I guess you would say, or more.
I mean, I like war metal. I never attempted to be in a band like that until I got recruited in this band in Caveman Colt, but. It's always been in me, like to do this kind of music, and that band we try to push the envelope and being extreme and fast and hard hitting, and just basically emulate all the influences from Sarcophago, Bestial Warlust, Blasphemy. That's the essence of the band, like that kind of raw approach.
Were all the bands always cool to you guys, or because you guys were different? Like I said, you guys played some festivals, I know, which we'll talk about. You guys played with a lot of bands. Was there any was everyone cool with the Caveman Colt guys early, or was it there's some that didn't really get what you guys were doing?
I mean, you always had haters for sure because they didn't like the name. A lot of the metal elitists, they didn't like the name, the Caveman Colt. They thought it was ridiculous.
Which is odd. It's a great name. I think it's
fitting of the genre. It's a good name. But a lot of these people, they rather have like their cookie cutter, satanic, like they're, all these bands that use the demonic imagery and shit. We didn't feel like that was authentic and genuine. We wanted to talk about something more real, more terrifying. That's like for real. Like what is more terrifying than the devil? Human nature.
No.
Humans are more brutal than any devil we could make up. So that's basically the essence of the concept and the lyrical themes, and that's it.
Yeah, but it totally makes sense. And you guys, So 2018, you guys put out a 10-inch on Larval Productions. Then you guys played the Mass Destruction Festival in 2019 with Nunslaughter, Nile, Terrorizer, I mean, Demolition Hammer, Deceased. I mean, how was that show for you guys?
Demolition Hammer, had a band I've been into since I was a teenager. It was like so tight, like pummeling. Like I have yet to compare any other thrash band to that. The intensity of that performance I saw. They're really good.
Yeah, glad they decided to come back.
What was that?
I said I'm glad they decided to reunite because they were gone for a long time.
Yeah, that too. It was brutality. It's like that band is like one of the highest caliber of thrash metal bands in the U.S. for sure. It stands up to the brutality of the German bands like Sodom and Creator and stuff like that. Because American thrash is
still great.
Oh, Sodom's one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah, we just saw them 2 months ago over here in Lithuania, and they're
wow.
still awesome. Yeah, they were killer. Yeah, they were killer. Yeah, and you guys, so you guys did, like I said, the Mass Destruction Festival, and then 2021 comes around, and you guys begin to work with Nuclear War Now Productions. And you guys released the second full length, right? Blood and Extinction.
That's right. That's the last record. And we put out a demo recently.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, I was going to ask you because you were also. So you guys did the 2021 and the 9 tracks, and you guys also, for those who obviously you're not with. So whoever doesn't know, you're not with Caveman Cult anymore.
Unfortunately, we had a disagreement and I'm no longer with them, or I don't know if they're split up, if they want to continue without me. Whatever they do is up to them. I mean,
because you guys were working on a new record, right? Is that true, or were you guys not working on new material?
We're doing the demo, the latest demo that we did, and with aims to do a third record, but things happen. We've been playing together for a long time. It happens. It's natural in a band from there be disagreements, and it is what it is. Now I'm more focused on my own band, which I've been doing for some time. The Ejecutador. It started in 2020, actually late 2019, and it's more of what I want to play, thrash metal.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. You guys did your first. You guys are doing shows in 2021, right? The new band. You guys were already playing shows.
Yeah, we did shows even during the pandemic, in the church's parking lot. Our first show was in the parking lot. With Ejecutador. And
and you guys, before we leave Caveman Cult, you guys, one thing I thought was really cool was in 2022, you guys got put on a tour with Goat Whore, Incantation, Bewitcher. How was that experience, man? That had to be. We know the Goat Whore guys. We've played with them a few times, and they were fucking awesome. And I'm sure that it must have been awesome to tour with those dudes. So, how was that experience?
Incredible, most professional tour I've ever participated in. It's like it was the real deal. You go. We are the opening band. And you get up there, you put your shit out of the vehicle, perform, get your shit immediately down, put all the shit away. There's no time to chill and putz around. It's the real deal. Like it's like the real leagues of what it's like to be a touring musician. It was really eye opener for me. The reality.
That's the most you've ever learned, you would say, on a tour? Like that was probably the biggest lesson, I guess you'd say. The
biggest lesson in being a professional, and I did the whole tour sober, not after, but before. I wouldn't touch a drop of alcohol or anything, and I took it very seriously, And, I made great connections from all over the place. Got to see stuff I would never have seen before. I got to see Colorado for the first time and go through the.
And how was the reaction to the band? Like, how was, did you guys hit it off right away? Were you guys just, killing it with the, because obviously when you're opening, first of all, you got to hope people are there. But you guys were, I know, like I said, I know personally that Caveman Cult has a following, and I know you guys, so were you guys getting a lot of Caveman Cult fans coming out to the shows actually to see you guys? There
was people that were there for us, definitely. But it's cool because we got to play to a different crowd, like a more mainstream, in quotation marks, crowd, because they're, or Incantation. Those are household names almost, in the metal scene. So, we exposed a lot of people to this subgenre of music that they would have never otherwise heard of. So it was great for us with exposure and just making relationships with other people, with other musicians. I got to know everybody pretty well, and everybody was super nice to us. It was a good experience. I think one highlight of the tour would have been Boston. Boston is like so fucking. I don't know what's in the water there, but people were moshing before we even started playing. It was like
nice.
It was really fucking like crazy. Like I even stage dove during Go Horror. I came out of stage diving retirement just for that. So it was like such a big crowd that I.
How many dates did you guys do? Do you remember?
It was 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Yeah. It's like 14 days, I guess. 14 dates. No break.
You guys also did Destroying Texas Fest in July. You guys just did too. But yeah, and like I said, that's the Caveman Cult story. And we're actually, before we move on to your new project, we're now going to listen to a Caveman Cult song from the 2016 full-length Savage Wars Destiny. The song is called The Bludgeoning. We'll see you back at the morgue after this track. That was The Bludgeoning off the 2016 Savage Wars Destiny record by Caveman Cult. And now that brings us to your new project, man. And so I guess, let's start out. I know you guys just put out your first EP. Like we said, you guys started doing shows a couple years ago. But introduce the new project to us, man.
Yeah, the band's name is Ejecutador, which in Spanish translates to executioner. It's a death thrash kind of thing, like. Among other influences in there, there's like some death metal and grind, throw some blast beats in there. It's not just a typical thrash band. And it's basically me pulling out all the stops in my songwriting with the guitar playing, because I've been in a band where actually it was the guitar player. I'm a guitar player since I started. I dreamed when I started to be in a band like Metallica when I was 14 years old, and now I got a real thrash band with good musicians that I'm playing in. And,
do you want to say the lineup for the band?
Oh yeah,
I know George is involved, but if you want to give us the lineup.
Myself was the guitar and vocals, George the bass and backing vocals, and that's pretty much like the duo. And then we added the Nick Cody, who I started jamming with a few years ago. who's an excellent guitar player. He plays in other bands locally.
Cemetery Shade, right? And Charred.
Charred, which I love Charred. I think we got a chance to play with them as Reapermanser back in the day. They're like black thrash kind of that I already attracted me to want to do stuff with him because he gets it, the style. And he's a phenomenal guitar player. I can pretty much throw in any riff at him. He can do it, play. And then the original drummer was a friend named Flip that I basically got a new drummer now, and it's Matt, is Nick's brother. So I got the dynamic of the two brothers in the band, which there's chemistry already because they've been playing in bands together. And this new drummer is much more technical than the previous drummer, so it's going to they definitely put us to a new level with the new songs that we're writing. Because what we put out already is already old, from like 2020, like.
And that's Stalking to Kill, right? That's the new EP that you guys put out.
Yeah.
Okay, so and that's 5 tracks. And you guys recorded that where at that one?
That was recorded with Flip, the original drummer, which took a little long in my opinion. Like it took like a year to record it. It took way too long, and that's one of the reasons why he's no longer in the band. I wanted to get somebody with more priority. And but it's a great recording. It's not too polished, but polished enough to hear everything.
Yeah, you guys, you play guitar in this one, right? So you're playing guitar, and like I said, George, we all know George doing the bass and vocals. And it's like a Slayer kind of thing. I do solos, Nick does solos, like back to back kind of thing. Like dual leads is something I've always wanted to do with somebody, but it's hard to find a good guitar player, And you said you guys started writing new material now, because I know you got, like I said, you said the Stalking the Kill is older material, now, so you guys have started working on new shit.
It's my only band right now, and I'm focusing only on songwriting for this band, and we already have like 6 new songs. We're gonna start tracking sometime this month with Josh from My Level in Creation, Josh Gibbs.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so we're actually going to play one of the tracks from the first recording you guys did from Stalking the Kill EP. We're actually going to play Worn by Time. And anything about this song you can share with us before we play it?
Yeah, that song I wrote, I hummed the riff before I ever played it on guitar. So that's one memorable thing about that song is like I hummed it, and then I was like feeling the riff, and I put it on guitar, and that's when it took off. But it's like sometimes you have riffs in your head and you just hum them. And
no, are you guys? So are you doing all the lyrics in this band too?
It's between Nick and I, but I do most of the lyrics. I do most of the vocals as well. But he does have some verses where he's singing by himself, which is cool. It's a cool dynamic. It's like 2 vocals going back to back, or everybody doing vocals together, like gang vocals, but like death metal vocals, not like traditional thrash, more heavy,
Cool, man. Well, we're actually going to play Worn by Time off of the first your guys' debut, Stalking the Kill EP, and we'll be right back after that.
I
you go, man. That was the track Worn by Time off the Stalking the Kill EP. And so you have that going on. You guys are working on new material. And I know you guys have some shows coming up too. I do know you're playing in Tampa at the Brass Mug, and you guys just did a handful of shows the last few weeks, if I'm correct too, right?
We did Propaganda not so long ago. And we're going to do this other place in Broward called Tough Times. It used to be Loser Lounge. It was owned by a friend of mine back in the day. He's no longer with us, unfortunately. Rest in peace. But he was a man, and his name was Wyatt. But now it's owned by a different owner, and we're going to try to get it back, playing in that venue. This band actually has a new dynamic because my girlfriend is managing us and putting a lot more of the business end of things, which I'm never been really good at. Like I've always been like, I just want to play, but now I'm becoming more of a manager alongside with her and like booking our own stuff.
She actually helped us set up this switch a little bit. She was like, we got her the links and shit like that. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah, it's cool. Like it's like she sets a fire under my ass to do things which nobody ever did before. So I'm very grateful for it.
And you guys are actually doing something together too, which we'll talk about actually in a moment. So I mean, and you guys, like I said, I know you guys are playing the Brass Mug on April 7th, I believe it is, coming up with Precipice and Withering Earth, and there's a couple. I don't have the flyer in front of me.
I'm excited to play that one. Precipice, it's like a death thrash band as well, or something.
Yeah,
like
they've been around for a long time. Yeah, they've been around for a long time.
You guys are any thrash band I'm, stoked to play with. There's very, very few in Florida.
Yeah, you guys like playing. You guys play the Brass Mug often, or you guys? I know you guys have been there a few times at Reapermanser in the past, but
I played there with Reapermanser. I forgot when, like years ago, and I played there with K-Man Club like more than a few times as well. It's a good place. I like playing there. It'll be a first time for us as a Ejecutador.
Okay, I was going to ask you. Yeah, so this would be your first time. There's that. Okay, yeah. So, and that is April 7th, and we'll promote that show when we get closer to it too on future episodes. But so now, which is kind of cool because when we first set up this interview, I didn't even know this was going on, so it kind of landed at perfect timing. So you just opened up, which we'll talk about, Free Ride Studios in Davie, Florida, right? What could you tell us about this, man?
Well, we found this very cool. It's not just a unit; it's like many units. It's like a whole like a complex of many units where musicians and people do podcasts and all that kind of stuff. And we got like the biggest one, and it has a built-in stage. And we basically started just we're gonna have a rehearsal space, but we came up with the idea of renting it out by the hour to all the bands, and now we have a full backline in there and a 32 channels mixer, super professional. And now a band can have a good rehearsal with AC and a full backline. You just have to show up and plug in and play. Or if you have your own head, or that kind of thing. And I'm also going to do music lessons out of it eventually.
I saw that actually. Yeah, it's very cool. What's the address of the place? Just so.
Oh, the address.
I caught you off guard, didn't I?
Yeah.
I'll post a link for it, man, if you want. If you add, I know it's Davie, Florida. But how long did you go there? Have you wanted to open up a studio for a while now? Has this been like kind of in the back of your mind a little bit?
It's mostly my girlfriend's idea, but I love the idea, and it's something that we're doing together, which is it's good that we have common interest, and she's very supportive of my music career, and has helped me a lot with Ejecutador, like financing the buying of merch and putting out my stuff on a CD, as opposed to when we first released it on tape. And we start realizing the tape is not really that successful in sales. People are not wanting. I mean, for freaks like us, we love tapes and collecting and stuff like that. But regular people, they want to listen to something they can actually
different world now, isn't it? Like, and you've always done tapes, because I know with Reapermanser you guys did tapes. You guys always did cassettes. Yeah, and you're right, because I know we've done tapes, Ed, with like Doomsilla and stuff. It's other bands we do, and it's you can get rid of them to the diehards, the people who love that shit. But a lot of times, in reality wise, yeah, the older people, because who's gonna 90% of the people that buy the tapes, you're lucky if they have a tape player or they're gonna play it. You know, it's becomes kind of like I guess I don't know. It's
novelty. It's a very novelty. You know, like if you're one of those people that you know is a diehard of owning physical tapes and stuff like that. I don't even have a tape player myself. I just collect stuff and I have it there, and I don't listen to it. Whatever.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that with that. Yeah, like I do have a record player in my garage here, and I do like, you know, I still buy records, but yeah, it's definitely, of course, it'd be much easier now to go now you don't have to do shit. You just look it up and you can play any record in like 2 minutes. You know,
put it on YouTube or whatever. You know, your shit.
Yeah,
online.
And have you noticed? Like, like even with your projects, do you think? Like, how would you, like, you know, now everything's AI and everything's kind of, you know, like everything's different now, man. Like, it's just totally like, and that's one thing also with you guys, we talk about even with Kunt Knuckles and stuff, you guys pretty much with all your bands, you guys were always doing in-house artwork, you know, whether with Kunt Knuckles, I think Natalie was doing the covers. I know she was doing flyers. I mean, even Generic Christ, we had her do a house party flyer for us in St. Pete.
Drew a flyer for that one. The show we played together.
Yeah, she did the flyers. You guys, you know, but you always had people doing your artwork and stuff. And now it just seems a little different. Like, you know, I will never personally, I know I will never use AI artwork. I will always
same here. It's
professional.
Whack as fuck to use AI for like artwork, or like it's something be true when real artists. Just like the music. The music, it's like there's nothing AI about it. It's all raw, comes from a real place. I don't want the not genuine representation of the band with the art of being AI. You know, at some point I consider it, but I'd rather have something real and raw.
Yeah, and I think if you look at your projects, you guys have always had a certain look, no matter what it is, actually pertaining to all of them. And if you put them all together, like you could kind of tell, like knowing what I know of what you've done, you can kind of tell it's your projects. You have a certain style, you like a certain look. There's a certain style to all the presentation of each band, whether it be Kunt Knuckles or Reapermanser, or there's a certain way that you have. So, you know, I've noticed that for all your projects. You can even tell it with the new project. I saw the new T-shirt design you guys did. I saw the tapes and stuff like that and the covers, and still has that Alvar feel to it, I guess you would say.
Well, I mean, the new art we have for Ejecutador, we have the Constantine, or he's known as Warhead Art from Ukraine. He's done a lot of other bands art. He did some of K-Mac art in the past for the 10-inch, the Supremacia Primordial. He did that, and he's done like Dark Cletion and Gohor, and he's done all kinds of stuff. So he's easy to work with, and he's also drew up our logo for Free Ride Studios, the guillotine logo. So, you know, I like working.
I did see that too. And people who want to find out about Free Ride Studios, where would they? Do you guys have, like, I know you have Instagram pages up now. What else do you guys have up where they could visit?
We're working on making the website and the Facebook page also eventually. But right now we're just promoting it through Instagram. It's fairly new. I mean, we have some people already hitting us up to rent out the space. Some guy wants to film a music video in there. That's gonna be interesting. But you know, it's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some time. It's not gonna happen overnight.
Definitely, yeah. It's exactly that. Yeah, it's nothing does. And if you can, what do they say? The first year, if you can survive the first year, I believe it is, of any kind of business, it usually, you know, that's the toughest year. And yeah, no, I mean, I think it's going to be killer. I think it's killer. You're doing it. And anybody who wants to find, you know, all the stuff, the new merch and stuff you have out now for the new project, where can they find, you know,
you can go on the band,
you guys have shirts.
Instagram, Ejecutador band, Instagram. And we were already shipping shirts all over the place, you know, like out of state and stuff like that. People are picking up on it. It's actually very surprising. people know about us, and we only have these 5 songs. But
what's next for you guys, man? What do you guys like? What's your plan now? The new year's starting. I know it's we're only in January. What is your focus this year with the band?
My focus is put out more recordings, make more music. That's the only way we'll be taking it more serious. Make more releases, like quality stuff. It's evolving. It's not like the same as this 5-song demo. The new songs are a bit more brutal than the last. So it's just gonna keep going, like with the brutality level, and it's more challenging for me as a guitar player. Like I'm actually doing riffs that you don't hear a lot of bands do, like trills and Destruction-esque kind of Whiplash kind of riffs, string skipping and things like that. It's more true to me, where I can truly show off my skill, and not in a show off kind of way, but like what I can really do.
Yeah, you've been around for a while now in the scene, man. And speaking of that, before we let you go, what would you, for the people who have like the Miami scene in general, obviously, everything changes eventually. What are some bands that, people haven't checked out around there that you think that, like I said, when we've played Miami, there was always a handful of bands that I was like, God damn it, I never heard of these guys. And, we have that in Tampa too, obviously, but what would you, personally for you, what would you,
Some bands that I think are,
yeah, like bands from Miami that people should check out that
my friend Be Value is really good. Coroidia, very sick death metal. They're actually former members of Hibernus Mortis.
Yeah, 90s, right? They were,
yeah,
90s. And they're still going.
They still play, but like very selective.
Yeah, I think Randy Pyro joined up with them too now, right? From Orb Weaver. Right. Yeah. Yeah, so
and Mike Pena is in Coroidia now as well.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that. Yeah.
That's gonna be an upgrade for them because he's an amazing drummer.
And you guys said maybe some more nuclear infantry stuff in the future, right? You guys are throwing it around.
I'm fairly busy with this band, putting all my effort into it and writing new songs. So I don't want to hinder the momentum by starting another project. Sometimes like when I was younger, I had more bands at the same time. Now I want to make more quality, products than the, spread myself out thin.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, especially as you get older, you got more shit going on. It's like, it's like you said, it does wear you out thin eventually. And obviously when you're in bands, as we all know, it is like being married. It is like you're jamming with 5 guys, and as much as you may be brothers, sometimes you want to fucking kill each other. It's
like a relationship, you got to work at it, and for us, you got to practice. It's definitely got to practice.
Yeah, definitely, man. No, and I guess, man, and Alvar, we really appreciate. I know you don't do much interviews and stuff too, so I'm really glad. We, like I said, we wanted to get you on for a while. We've known you from playing with you in the past, and I always really dug what you've done. And like I said, I mean, always loved Reapermanser. I hope you guys eventually, get back together and do some more shit, because I really thought you guys were killer. I know, Ed.
We have songs that we didn't record that are worth recording, that we never got around to record, but we play live all the time. We just never got around to recording them. So maybe if I can get them motivated to get back and at least put that stuff out,
Yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I was surprised when you guys thought. Eventually, I started noticing. I was like, man, I don't see much going on with Reapermanser. And then I started noticing, you had other stuff going on. I know how it goes, and yeah, definitely be cool to hear you guys do something else. And like I said, man, you're always welcome on the show. We really, again, we appreciate you giving us your time. And yeah, I mean, and definitely good luck with the Free Ride Studios, man. I think it's really cool what you're doing. And
I appreciate the promo.
We'll mention it. Yeah, we'll mention it on here, man. Whatever you need, and like I said, everyone, check out Alvar, give us. I know it's what's some links before we get off of here. What's some people want to check out the new stuff? You have a Bandcamp, you said.
No Bandcamp for Ejecutador just yet. We put our stuff on YouTube, Spotify, and all that crap. So at least now it's more readily available. But it's not Bandcamp, I guess.
Instagram pretty much would be a good place to find you
guys.
You can
find it easily, and you can always hit us up for a physical copy of the band's Instagram if you are interested in having a physical copy of the music.
Cool, man. Well, dude, again, we appreciate it. And Alvar, we'll say goodbye to you when we're done with the show. So just hang on for a minute here. And Ed, what do we have going on next week? We have this week we have what? We have Dovidus from Crypts of Despair, Loctus, Cold Embrace from Lithuanian death and black metal bands. They'll be playing Metal Threat in Illinois in October. We'll have him on here to talk about his bands. Then we have Dave and Carl from the Rods coming on January 16th, I believe it is.
Yep.
We got some other stuff actually for later January that is pretty much definite, but we're not going to announce until we get the exact day down. But, where can they find us, Ed?
Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, I think. I don't know.
Not sure
Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Smoke Signals. Everything.
Right.
Yeah, right. It's pretty much everywhere. You can email us at thetampamorgue@gmail.com. Yeah, man. Alvar, thanks a lot again. Like I said, we'll say goodbye to you when we're done with the show. Ed,
good seeing you again, Alvar.
Yeah, man. It's been a while, dude, and
it's been very enjoyable for me to do this because I have some history with you guys, and I remember mentioning it to you yesterday that like most interviews. Yeah, it's just the stupidest question. It's like shit off a questionnaire on Facebook. Like, what's your favorite color? Like,
we don't do that. We don't do that here.
We don't do that. Really, you guys are all about the music, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, man, you guys always treated us well, dude. As I always said, when we went to Miami, man, your band, you hung out with us after the show. We hung out.
Yep.
I remember that bus thing in the fucking parking lot. I mean, yeah, man. All you guys, everyone in that band, man, George, everybody. Yeah, it was always, you guys treated us with respect. You guys stayed for the whole show. It was just a different vibe, man. And we never forgot it. And you guys, like I said, man, when you played with Reapermanser back in the day, or even Cut Knuckles, man, you're like, okay, we need to bring our A game today because, you guys weren't fucking around, man. It was, you guys delivered. So
I appreciate it.
We appreciate you, man. And everybody check out Free Ride Studios in Davie, Florida. And we'll put some links up too and everything. But yeah. Alvar, thanks again, man. And like I said, we'll talk to you in a minute here out of here. But Ed, I'll see you on Thursday.
You got it.
But yeah, man, thanks for listening to the Tampa Morgue, everybody. And we appreciate it. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, which we definitely need to. We're like the worst with Facebook because we're kind